All right, everyone, welcome back into another NBA DFS video. Got you covered here with this 4-game slate. We currently have one game live right now, one game about to go live. So just going to be concentrating on the 4-game slate. I don't believe FanDuel is that it's the same, right? I guess I didn't check that. I believe so.
I'm not playing on FanDuel today, so I didn't even look over there. I'm on DK only.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, just a 4-game slate today. Really kind of a straightforward slate, except for the exception of New York. Yeah, they made a trade today. I thought it was a very strange trade, honestly, for New York specifically because of quickly. What were your thoughts on that? And then we'll get into the DFS side of it.
So I can't say I didn't expect it, but I was actually surprised at all the pushback I saw on Twitter. People talking about were people saying the Knicks got fleeced, and yeah, Emmanuel Quickley is a great player. RJ Barrett's fine. But OG Anunoby is like the perfect player for Tibbs' system. He's one of the best defensive wings in the whole NBA. He can hit threes, and Quickly probably wasn't going to be kept by the Knicks anyway. I don't think they wanted to pay him. They already have Brunson, and so I thought it was a fine trade for both teams.
Yeah, and maybe the Quickly move is more of instead of trading him to I don't know. I guess never mind. I was going to say a good thing for him. Here we're going to do you guys well. Do well by you instead of sending him to some terrible team. But at the same time, he would have been able to shine in a terrible team theoretically. So I don't know. Kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he starts. It's probably unfortunate for Gary Trent, I think, most on Toronto. And that game does start in 10 minutes. I think it's pretty straightforward, though. If you did play the early slate, I don't think there's many late swaps. It was their regular starting lineup with Gary Trent in there instead.
Yeah, he was someone, though, that you could get to pretty easily for that. But yeah, looking at today, so for New York, pretty much everyone's going to be chalky. Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, those guys are going to be too cheap. Josh Hart as well. Dante DiVincenzo. And then, yeah, I was mentioning kind of before the stream, which min-price, near min-price play would we want to be on? Right now, the field is getting to Quentin Grimes at 50% on DraftKings, 28% on FanDuel. Is this a situation today where we're probably max loading up on the Knicks just on a 4-game slate?
Yeah, when I ran my lineups, my 5 highest exposed players are the Knicks, and then my 9th highest exposed player is also a Knick, and it's Grimes, Hart, Randall, DiVincenzo, Hartenstein, and Brunson. It just with RJ Barrett, he takes up usage, and he's been inefficient, so it actually is a lot of stats to go around, and everyone on this team is priced well. Brunson might be slightly more than I'd like to pay for him, but I think that. Yeah, we just target this team. Especially, I've been talking about we want to play players against Indiana, and they're all super owned today, New York. But I still think they're going to make up the bulk of our exposures.
I kind of wonder what their ownership would have been, just regardless of if we didn't get that news, because it's a game that everyone would want to attack. Obviously, Randall and Brunson would have been a little bit too high priced, but it would have been more interesting there.
And we need to see the starting lineup because if Quentin Grimes he's going to be a good play either way at 3.1K. But I wouldn't be surprised if Josh Hart started. DiVincenzo's been in there, so expect him to stay. But
I'm very interested in Evan Fournier. How many minutes is he going to get? In the sense that I'm interested to see how many minutes he gets. Maybe he is someone that's a surprise start tonight. It wouldn't be shocking to see him randomly get 30 minutes tonight just on a one-off situation,
Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting to him a bit. I mean, RJ Barrett plays big minutes, so it is a lot of minutes to go around. Fournier, is he pulling any owner? He's not pulling any ownership, so I don't mind taking shots on him in GPPs.
Yeah, only 11 minutes right now. Again, if that or it's a guessing game, it's kind of like with the Spurs occasionally where Doug McDermott will randomly get 25. That's a bad example, but you get what I'm saying. We do have some questions coming in, Jose, can you talk about the priorities? Yeah, the Knicks are going to be the priorities today. We got Luis saying good luck tonight. And yes, guys, make sure to hit the like button. Do appreciate that. Everyone is saying that. That's awesome. Let's see here. Where's Pascal Siakam going? Are there rumors about Siakam being traded? I guess I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it was something about. There was something if they traded him today, something about bird rights, but I don't know if it matters too much. And I actually got by a tweet earlier that said it was one of those fake NBA pages, and it said Pascal Siakam got traded for Klay Thompson.
Oh, that would not make sense.
No, I saw people talking about Pascal to Indiana though, and that would be pretty fun. I'm not sure what Indiana would have to give up.
Yeah, I don't know either. Let's actually just talk about Indiana. That's a good segue there. I like that. Honestly though, like what Jalen Smith, like go young. I don't know. I bring that up because Jalen Smith is looking like a pretty good play today. Again, 4.9 power forward center eligible on DraftKings. To see someone that you're looking at here, obviously the only other like news that we have is they're still a little bit banged. Not really. I mean, they're not too banged up. Missing one starter. One player that gets significant minutes, so we're just kind of banking on Jalen Smith getting 22 minutes, Naismith getting 30, Buddy Hield potentially getting 30. Is there anyone that you're looking at here significantly, or is it just kind of game stacking purposes?
So I think I was on the show with Nick when I was talking about what we thought Tyrese Halliburton's price would be at the beginning of the season, and he was close to 11K, and he's back under 10K on DraftKings, and his ownership seems pretty reasonable. And so I like Tyrese Halliburton on DraftKings, and I believe Isaiah Jackson is questionable as well.
Yeah.
And so if he is, then that would be pretty good for. I mean, it's just a few more minutes security for Jalen Smith, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I lost you.
What about on this one? Can you hear me on this one or no?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, we'll go ahead and switch up and get into guards. There's some other injury situation, but we'll talk about that as it pops up. Like Luka's questionable, Kyrie's doubtful, so we'll talk about that as it pops up. But yeah, looking at the top guards right now, it is Luka as the number one play, getting 29% projected ownership, and then it's going to be Halliburton pulling in a decent amount of ownership. LeBron is listed as a point guard on DraftKings tonight, so that's interesting. Jalen Brunson's going to be the play that everyone probably goes to. Maxey coming in off of a good game. Ant-Man would be someone you'd get to more if Towns was ruled out. I think that'd be a good leverage spot. Melton kind of priced up, had a bad game last game. I guess, I would say everyone is correctly priced. The ownership's kind of saying that as well, minus probably Dante DiVincenzo. Do you see like his starting points here at the guard spot?
Yeah, I already mentioned Tyrese Halliburton, and then I feel like I'm not setting a rule for this, but I feel like most of my lineups are going to have one of Brunson or Julius Randle. And so if I'm playing Randle in a lineup, I think Steph Curry is a decent pivot at the same price as Brunson. He's going to come in with much less ownership. Yeah. He's been bad recently, but I mean, it's Steph Curry, and you don't want to get there a game too late. We want to be on him a game too early. Yeah. And then Tyrese Maxey had a really good game last night, and I think he's a pretty decent pivot to Jalen Brunson as well.
I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, because when I'm looking at Maxey and Melton, for that matter, and Harris, to me, it's like, all right, we can't bank on all three of them to have a good game, but I feel like we can bank on two of them to have a good game, because Maxey was hitting his shots and really going off. Melton didn't shoot the basketball all too much in that game and really didn't do much elsewhere. And Tobias Harris was shooting the basketball well as well. Am I reading into that too much, or is that like a spot where we could potentially do, I want max of two of these plays in my lineup, like between Maxey, Melton, and Harris?
No, that makes sense to me. The thing I'm thinking about, though, is if I set that rule, I imagine most of them are just going to end up with Melton and Harris due to the pricing. And we have, like I said, Brunson, Steph Curry, and Tyrese Halliburton as the pivots. So
that makes sense. I will say Ant-Man, though, if Towns is ruled out, I know he's been questionable every game pretty much, but that'd be a spot that I would really want to get to as well. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Any love for Pods or Clay? Pods is pulling in about 25% projected ownership on both sites, 21 on FanDuel, I guess. Any love for him? And then Chris Paul as well, pulling in 25% projected ownership on DraftKings.
You remind me, that's the one thing that I meant to check. I forgot to. With Gary Payton coming back to the Warriors lineup, I was curious how that affected Pod's minutes. I'm still going to like him at his price, and his ownership is pretty reasonable. But we have so many options today that he's not as much of a priority as he's been for me on the past few sites.
Yeah, it dropped. I mean, he was playing. So last game he played 28. Prior to that, 34, 32, 29, 16, 33, 32, 35. So maybe a little bit. Probably not a big enough sample to see, but Peyton played 16 and 18 minutes in his last two games. So, maybe slightly.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see there. And then Klay Thompson, like I mentioned before, he's been better. And so I don't mind him as a GPP play, but I'm not sure anyone on this Warriors team is a priority. We'll get to Looney and Sarge when we get to forwards. But as for the guards, I think they're all just kind of pivots from the good chalk.
Yeah. Yeah, Klay just not getting shot attempts up recently, which is kind of strange to me. But we'll go ahead and move on into the forwards here. LeBron listed as a forward guard on both site or on DraftKings is interesting.
Lost you again.
Okay. I'll go to a different slide. I was saying LeBron being listed as a forward and guard on DraftKings is just weird, but Interesting. Any love for DeMar DeRozan? I think it's kind of clear we want to fit in Summer Randall. Anthony Davis is probably properly priced, but DeMar DeRozan coming in as the third best ranking forward on the OF Index. Is that anyone you're looking at?
Yeah, I still like DeMar and Kobe White, who was a similar price to those other guys we mentioned. I mean, Chicago's still shorthanded. Vooch is out. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're going back to Drummond again a little bit at center. But yeah, DeMar, his ownership seems a little bit too low. I know 8,500 might feel uncomfortable, but 14% ownership on DraftKings, we're going to have so much ownership with the Knicks guys that we have to play a few of these guys in the low teens, under 10% owned.
Yeah. Let's see here. I don't know. I'm struggling with this spot because I'm probably just going Hart and DiVincenzo. I guess, do you see any other ways to go about that?
I might be thinking about this too hard, but looking at LeBron and AD, like AD has to go up against Gobert and, with or without Cat. I kind of like LeBron either way at under 10% ownership on DraftKings. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I'm kind of fine with LeBron as well as a pay up, but like, I don't know. Are you going to prioritize him over, I guess, getting to Brunson and Randall or Randall? That's kind of my issue. I guess you could. I guess LeBron has a higher ceiling, a little bit higher priced.
Just looking at my LeBron lineups that I have right now, they all have looks like Julius Randle in them over Brunson. I'm going to try to mix that up a little bit more, but I think that we want to play him alongside of a lot of those guys.
And I could be wrong here, and I'm not recommending this play at all or anything like this, but is this Toppin's first game against New York? It's probably not. I'm probably wrong about that.
I like Toppin tonight when we were talking about Indiana, with especially if Isaiah Jackson ends up missing. Like Jalen Smith has been starting, but Toppin his price has come down to a point where I like taking shots on him.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I would have liked it better if it was back in New York. I always like the little stupid narrative a little bit better that way. But yeah, projected to get 22 minutes, very high total game, 250 or so. So yeah, I could get behind that.
And just a couple other guys, Kelly Oubre's coming in at 1% ownership at 6K. It's funny, like he went from super chalk to no one's playing him because he had a bad game, but I think he's fine as a GPP play. Don't play him too much in your exposures. And then Tobias Harris, he put up 7 stocks yesterday. We're not expecting 7 stocks again, but 7,200 at 13% still seems a little bit light.
I do want to point out that Batum questionable. If he plays tonight, does that change any Maxey, Oubre, or Harris? To me, kind of, but I'm curious your thoughts there.
Maybe slightly, but for me, it would just affect more of the secondary guys, Covington and Marcus Morris, who I'm not really interested in today anyway.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Let's see here. Got any more questions? Oh, yeah, we did kind of a little bit. Batum back, Oubre to the bench. Maybe, but that could actually help him a little bit, honestly. Like Oubre coming in off the bench, just commanding more usage off the second unit, just chucking up shots, but again, kind of a weird one. Someone's saying it's LeBron's birthday game. Did you know that?
Birthday? No, I didn't. I'm gonna have to check this out. LeBron James.
I will say I noticed it was Eric Gordon's birthday. I don't know, last week, and he put up a dud. And Bradley Beal was out, so I'm like, wasn't much there.
On December 30. Is there an easy way to look this up? It's a fun narrative.
Yeah, I mean, if you just search LeBron James' birthday, you should be able to find that pretty easily.
So last year on his birthday, he put up 47, 10, and 9.
Okay, so yeah, maybe prioritize him a little bit.
He's had some good he's never had a bad game on his birthday. He's had a couple disappointing games for his price in DFS, but he averages 34, 7.5, and 7 with a block and a steal. So that's a fun narrative. Even more reason to want to get to LeBron.
That is a fun. So we're going Toppin for a dumb, not even revenge game really, but sort of, and then LeBron. So there we go. That's how we get different today.
Should be a fun one.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and pivot on into the centers here. So kind of mentioned Anthony Davis as a decent play, but the one play that you've been teasing a little bit is Kevon Looney. Let's get your thoughts there.
It's been weird with their rotation since Trace Jackson Davis has come in. They're essentially in a 3-way split kind of for center. And just looking at the most recent game, Kevon Looney started, Dario Saric came off the bench, but Dario Saric and Trace Jackson Davis came in at the same time, and Dario played 20 minutes. Kevon Looney only played 14. And so maybe Kevon Looney isn't the play here, but we do like big men against Dallas. And so I like getting to one of these guys, and it's just going to be like I've been on Trace Jackson Davis, but with the price that Sarge and Looney are at, and it's reflected in the ownership. But then Trace Jackson Davis is only 2%, paying a little bit more. So I don't mind mixing in these three guys. Going to set a rule max one from these three, though.
Yeah, and like on DraftKings specifically, where they're too cheap. FanDuel probably not getting into them too much, but yeah, I really like the idea of just having one of them. Like, I guess who do you think is the safest? To me, it's Sarge, just given his price tag. But we know Looney, if he does get 20 or so projected minutes like he has, he could easily put up 25 in that. But I'm curious, who's the safest tonight, given the pricing?
I agree that it's Sarge. I don't think Looney's hit his minutes projection in a few games. I might be mistaken. Maybe he got there in one or two, but he's consistently playing under his projected minutes. And it just, even though he's starting, he's not closing ever, which is unfortunate.
I'm curious. I just want to look at the match. Like, is Dallas a matchup where he could get more run or not? Like, again, like Vegas against Dallas is kind of a thing. Against Miami, it makes sense why you wouldn't maybe play that much, but at the same time, you would think he would play a little bit more against Miami, given Bam, and then Denver against Jokic. You'd think he'd get some more run just defensively. 22 minutes in both those games, though. So, or it's 22 minutes against Denver, 14 against Miami. So, just kind of weird, honestly.
Yeah, I'm less. So they've had one of these three guys on the court for every minute in the past few games. Maybe there was a minute or two where they didn't, but they don't have Draymond Green. They don't have the flexibility they had to go small ball anymore. And they're not really comfortable running Jonathan Kuminga at the center spot. Even if Dallas runs like, I don't know, Grant Williams at center, I still feel like one of these three is going to be on the court at all times.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see here. Any other centers that are popping up? Let's just sort by value right now. So Jalen Smith is popping up as the best value, or one of the better value center plays, specifically on FanDuel. He is. For DraftKings, it's Looney, still Drummond. Let's talk about Drummond actually, and Miles Turner a little bit. He's a little bit too cheap, but let's start with Drummond. $1,000 difference between DraftKings and FanDuel, projected to get 35.8 minutes. He was kind of a disappointment in the last game. His pricing was cheap enough to the point where it didn't really hurt people too much. Only 21 minutes in that game, and that's the biggest concern. What are you doing with Drummond today at 8K?
So I didn't see when he picked up those fouls, so I'm not sure how much that affected his his run, but he didn't close the game, which was super disappointing. I think they went with the who did they even close the game with? I don't even know.
I thought it was Patrick Williams, honestly. I could be wrong, and maybe a little bit of Taylor, but I thought Patrick Williams was just balling out, so they just kind of ran him out as a big. And again, I could be completely wrong, but we know the rotation with Miles Turner is always a little bit weird as well. Like, he's not getting that much run, so I thought it was like Williams and Jalen Smith just as the bigs. I thought that both teams went small, but I could be wrong there.
No, you're right. Yeah, I'm looking at the rotation right now, and Patrick Williams played the entire fourth quarter. And so I've been off Patrick Williams, and I would have been off him again today, but his ownership is so low that I don't mind it. He does enough while he's on the court, I guess. But Andre Drummond, I think that this is a little bit too much of an overreaction. I know he's 8K and 9K. FanDuel, it's a little uncomfortable, but DraftKings 8K, I'm still going to be over the field on that 14% against Philly.
Yeah, Philly without Embiid, to that matter. 36 projected minutes. Like, if he does get that, like we saw what happened. I mean, heck, we see what happens just with 21 minutes, like it's a bet on the minutes. And I'm perfectly fine saying that, hey, if this guy does get 36 minutes, we could be getting 67 fantasy points. And we're not expecting that, but it's in the realm of possibilities, apparently.
It's like Drummond is the perfect example of a player who is absolutely elite for fantasy basketball, but that doesn't reflect in, I guess, just what he contributes to real life basketball and winning games.
On my feed today, there was a low light for Andre Drummond that popped up. I'm like, oh, that's just rough. But I'm like, he just went off. So it is what it is. He is one of those players, though, like veteran wise, where it's not surprising that they go off in these short spurts. Like, if they were to ask him to do this for the whole season, he would no doubt at least start to suck again. Like, it just would happen.
Yeah, I mean, we really like him when Vooch is out for a week or two, and we get that starting, for like 4, 5, 6 games, something like that. And then, he'll have those random games off the bench where he plays 12 minutes and puts up 30 fantasy points anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a good point per minute player this whole season. Any love for Paul Reed, who's kind of been a little bit of a disappointment, but also has shown the ceiling that you would want. And again, he's going to be going against Andre Drummond. To me, that's kind of appealing.
Yeah, I played a bunch of Paul Reed on the previous slate. Didn't work out, but
Yeah.
I mean, he's coming in 9% at 5,700 on DraftKings. I'm going to go right back to him. I'm not going to get like extreme with it, but I will be over the 9% and just kind of hoping that him and Drummond both stay on the court. Like these, kind of similar to what we saw with Chicago versus Indiana. We've known Indiana to go small here and there, and Philadelphia can do the same too. They have the Morris twin, Batum, even Covington, whatever.
Yeah.
But I like Paul Reed today at that ownership. 5,700 is probably the appropriate price for this role. So
I agree. And just looking at his sample size with him beat out, he's had one really great game, but that's kind of, that's NBA DFS. Like you'll take the 40 point upside. You'll take a 7x upside for when he does go off.
And we haven't projected for 26 minutes. He has a potential to play 30 plus. And so I'm willing to take that risk that he plays well and the game dictates that he stays on the court.
Yeah. Is Drummond a good matchup? Like I said that I'm like pretty confident, but I guess I haven't looked at the data this season to back that up. That was just an assumption. I'm going to assume like I watched some of the games with Drummond and it hasn't looked good, but it can be deceiving with centers. I think it's a good matchup, right?
It seems like a really fun matchup either way, though.
Yeah.
Reed versus Drummond.
I'm waiting for when Kenneth Lofton actually gets some minutes, just for what it's worth. Signed a 2-way contract with Philly 7 days ago. Hasn't played in a while, sorry. But with I don't know, I'm just waiting for that. Like I want him to get called up, maybe Drummond. Maybe Embiid, maybe Paul Reed. They don't like to play. I'm just waiting for that day. It hasn't happened just yet.
Yeah, not if Marcus Morris has anything to say about that.
Geez. Anyone else here center-wise that you like or no?
You did mention Miles Turner is pretty cheap, and everyone's going to go to Jalen Smith. Miles Turner is a fine pivot. Just pay a little bit more. It seems like Hartenstein is the easy center to play today, though, along with Jalen Smith. And so those two should probably be making up the bulk of your exposures and then just mixing in all the other guys we talked about.
Yeah. Is Hartenstein your least favorite the Knicks plays or not, I guess, for the players that we want to go out of our way to play, I should say?
It looks like it's that way, yeah. I mean, he's like I have Grimes, Hart, Randall, DiVincenzo, a lot of my exposure, and then it's a big drop off to Hartenstein. So, but I'm still getting there a good amount.
Yeah. And I'm just looking at FanDuel wise, just taking a peek again. So yeah, Jalen Smith, he's popping up as a good value. You can play him just on center. So he's 48% projected owned on FanDuel, which I find fascinating because he's only center eligible. That's crazy, honestly. Now I'm looking at it, but again, like who you're going to get to? Drummond's priced up there, Looney's priced up there, Randall. You can play him power forward. You got Miles Turner, Hardenstein's power forward eligible, so I guess it's starting to make sense there. But yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, center's kind of thin on FanDuel, I guess, but that seems bad to me. Jalen Smith, 46%. I mean, what's his ceiling? 30 plus, a little bit. I mean, I don't think we're really going to see it's possible, I guess, but I don't want to chase that when half the field is also chasing that.
Yeah, I would say like 30 plus would be the ceiling there. Because he's not going to get 30 minutes, so he's already limited there.
Mm-hmm. And we just got news that Isaiah Jackson's in, so possibly a few minutes hit for the potential we were hoping for Jalen Smith.
Does that make Isaiah Jackson in play at all at 4K? Only projected to get 13 minutes. Probably would need him to get like 17, but 4K is interesting.
I mean, foul trouble is a thing, and I hate predicting foul trouble, but if no one's going to play Isaiah Jackson, especially the 4K price on DraftKings, even though he's center only, it seems like a fine GPP pivot.
I mean, I'm looking at the game log here. 20 minutes against Houston, he put up 28 fantasy points. Then 6 and 12 minutes didn't do anything, and then against Charlotte, 15 minutes, 20 fantasy points. So certainly can get 5x, which on a 4-game slate is useful.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into a little bit of a sample build. If you guys have any questions, make sure to get those in. Obviously, it's a 4-game slate. We're kind of running earlier than we typically would, which is not a bad thing. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, we can answer those pretty easily today. So let's go ahead and get into a first look build. Starting points, probably New York. Who are you looking at there?
I think that we should play. I don't know, some combination of Grimes, DiVincenzo, and Hart. Maybe two of them.
Yeah. I'm going to go DiVincenzo, small forward, Hart, power forward we can do, right? Yeah.
That sounds better. Quentin Grimes. What is Quentin Grimes' ownership? Let me refresh because it's
We could play Grimes at shooting guard, but my worry is that he hasn't gotten that much run like this season at all. 24 minutes, he had 12 fantasy points, 27 minutes against Toronto, 26. It's literally his best game log. Other games he's gone 20, 25, not done anything. So
yeah, even if he gets like 22, with Barrett's departure, he's a terrible fantasy producer. And I get he's been priced. So actually, maybe let's fade Quentin Grimes in our dummy.
Well, just because he's 50% projected own right now. If it was honestly 40, I'd be fine eating the chalk. It's just, I guess I'm okay living with Grimes beating me today, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm still going to play him a bunch, but I don't quite. I mean, I'm going to try to be at least the most I'll be is at the field. I don't think I'm going to be over the field on Quentin Grimes.
Yeah. And then so I do feel like we have to play one of Brunson or Randall. Randall probably in a little bit of a better matchup. I will say, I believe, Brunson coming in off of a poor night shooting. I kind of expect him to have a better night shooting tonight. Who do you like more there, Brunson or Randall?
I say, do you want to see if we can make this work with Randall and Halliburton?
Yeah, we can try that. Let's do that. So Randall, Hallie.
And another idea too is, like I said, most of my lineups have one of Julius Randle or Jalen Brunson. If you're fading both of them in a lineup, that's probably instant leverage. So just something to keep in mind. Not that I'm recommending it, but it is an idea.
I think I'll probably end up playing both of them. In most of my builds, I might get different in a couple, but it's more safe. I don't know. They're both the likely of them both putting up, let's say 90 combined. Let's put it that way. That's pretty likely, right? But you're probably fading them because you want GPP winning upside, where playing both of them doesn't give you that.
Yeah, if you're playing small field, playing both is definitely fine. I guess what I'm talking about is more in the large field contest that I play.
I think that makes perfect sense. So let's look at some other just like values for the whole slate.
Could throw Jalen Smith in there.
Yeah. I don't know. You kind of talked me off of him.
Or Obi Toppin is fun too.
That is fun. We get LeBron in there somehow.
Can we?
I don't know. Let's try it. Actually, it's just for fun. We'd probably be very strapped for. We probably have to play Quentin Grimes if we do this, but we'll see. Yeah, we would have to play Grimes.
It's not gonna work.
Yeah. You could easily go LeBron over Hallie though, but it could work.
Saric.
Yeah, probably Sarge. We'll do Sarge there. Just to get our one exposure to that game. Or one big to that game. Let's see here. Derek Jones Jr. popping up as a good value. I guess we didn't really talk about that too much. How much of a priority is Luka if he's active with Kyrie out tonight? Like, obviously, he's been kind of crushing it. Golden State's been doing the opposite.
We like Luka more on the short slates for sure. There's just less other stars that can put up similar scores. I mean, no one can put up a similar score to Luka, but I guess putting up huge multipliers on their salary. But I don't know. We actually have a lot of good plays in that 8, 9, 10K range that Luka's not necessary today. I don't think it's a bad matchup for him though against Golden State, and I do like Derek Jones Jr. So.
All right, we can put him into that 5.3. That kind of meets the salary here if we want, or we could do one of the indie plays. What do you think? So, Aaron Naismith or Obi Toppin or Jalen Smith, all about the same price, or go with Derek Jones Jr. at a slightly higher price tag?
If we can do something with that 600 difference from Smith to Toppin, then I don't mind going Toppin. But I think my default's going to be Jalen Smith. Okay,
we'll do that. And then we got two guards left. Average salary of 6.1. So we got to fit in one shooting guard. Could go Podzinski. I butchered that still. Could go Buddy Hield. Caruso potentially. Could go Grimes. Could put Dante DiVincenzo into the guard spot. I believe he's guard eligible. Yeah.
Trying to see if we put Melton in. Is there another guard that fits the salary well?
I don't know. I think with Batum being back, I just want to take a wait and see with him. I'm going to put DiVincenzo into the shooting guard spot. and then Randall in the small forward.
Quentin Grimes just got ruled out, so luckily we don't have to worry about that. So that's
Honestly,
actually, I love that.
Evan Fournier, I'm not I don't want to see his men's projection bump up for two reasons. One, I don't want to have to play him, but two, I don't want the field to play him either.
Yeah, for me that'll just be an ownership thing. If Evan Fournier's projected for like 5%, then I'll probably get there a bit. If he's projected for like 20, 30, then I'm still going to have some in my exposures, but I'm not going to be excited about it.
Just trying to get lucky with minutes. So who's most likely to take over? Is it going to be Miles McBride there, or is it just going to be maybe more of really just the starters, Josh Hart and DiVincenzo? DiVincenzo's projected to get 30 minutes, maybe gets 35. Same thing with Josh Hart, maybe gets like 37 instead of the 33.
So the thing is, they need a ball handler when Jalen Brunson is off the court. And Jalen Brunson, I mean, he's been playing, I guess the most minutes he's played recently is like 37. And so even if Miles McBride is only on the court when Jalen Brunson's resting, 11 minutes for Miles McBride is not worth much. It's just a matter of if they ever are going to share the court together, which I don't think they will.
Yeah. To me, that honestly makes I don't like using the lock word, but like on tonight's side, I feel like DiVincenzo and Hart are just kind of locks.
Yeah, DiVincenzo's definitely going to be picking up a lot of the slack today.
Yeah. They're both kind of players that do it all. Hart doesn't get as many shot attempts up. So, yeah, I'd probably be favoring DiVincenzo. What percent ownership do you know? Or guess, what are you thinking for him tonight?
For DiVincenzo?
For you. Yeah, not the field.
Oh, man.
Because he's at 51 right now, so.
Like 70?
Yeah, I would say that's probably right.
He's been playing 20 minutes in the recent games, and we haven't projected for 29. And it's like, if he was priced appropriately for 29 minutes, he'd be, I don't know, 5,800.
Yeah. All right, so we got some questions coming in here, and then we'll kind of finish up the first look build here in a second. So let's see here. So thoughts on Tim? Oh, we got Curry first. I'll get into this one first. Sorry. So Curry 8.3 on FanDuel. I missed that, honestly. That's crazy.
It's a pretty good price. I mean, yeah, Curry's been bad. He's been bad, but he's going to have a good game again. And playing him at 8K, what's his ownership?
26.
Oh, I mean, it's not egregious or anything, but
no,
I'd rather take it if it was lower. But I mean, I'm a Steph Curry fan. I'm always gonna like Steph Curry, but it's just, even if he puts up, I don't know, I don't want to put a number on it. He's okay. He's just okay to me at his price and ownership, but he's probably too cheap for a ceiling.
It is crazy just sorting it by FanDuel value. He's really not popping up there too much. It's like what, 7th, 8th on there, which kind of tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, Julius Randle better value than Steph Curry. What year is this?
The future, I guess, honestly. So thoughts on Tim Hardaway tonight. So, man, I've really struggled with Dallas. To me, I'm more just passing up on Dallas whenever like kind of value presents itself. He's very much shot dependent, can get hot, can break a slate. Kind of what are your thoughts on him tonight?
I think I'm biased against Tim Hardaway, and I talk a lot how I really like playing boomer bust inconsistent players if the field is scared to get there. But Tim Hardaway is a player that I just am never excited to play. No. And at this price, I don't think I'm getting there at all on DraftKings today.
Yeah, it's a little bit too high. Derek Jones Jr., 1,000 more cheaper, been probably more consistent as a fantasy producer with the minutes that he's been getting.
Yeah, I agree. I think Derek Jones, I mean, Luka's projected for crazy ownership, actually. That's kind of insane. I kind of don't mind getting away from Luka a little bit if he's going to come in that owned.
I do wonder if that's going to change with the Grimes news, though, because people are probably just pairing both those two together.
You're right. And if they're trying to get to Luka now, they're probably forcing it. So I actually like fading Luka even more.
Yeah. I mean, I need to look at his game log. What has he done?
A lot.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, has he had a bad game where he can't be in a GPP winner?
I mean, for honestly, at this price and even though it's only a 4-game slate, like 63 fantasy points is, I'm not excited about it from Luka. Like you're probably going to cash, but it's going to be hard to compete for a win unless every single other spot is correct and you hit on like an Evan Fournier or something like that.
Darn right. I'm doing that lineup now. You just put that in my head. Luka Fournier. It's going to be my pivot lineup that I do
for like all the money.
It'll be all right. Any Conley love? I'll say Conley's okay tonight. This would almost feel like we're forcing it in there, though. more of a DraftKings play, 5.7, 14% projected owned. Good matchup against your Lakers. What do you think about Conley tonight?
So I like him more than I like Hardaway, but Conley's another guy I'm never really excited to play, but he does get there more often than Hardaway, I guess. And the price, the price is fine. Lakers suck, so.
Does that pain you to say that?
I'm allowed to say it because I'm a Lakers fan. If a non-Lakers fan said it, then we got problems. But
I don't think they suck. By the way, I think they're
my
fine.
Man. Appreciate you.
They will be at the end of the season. We all know that. I'm looking at the projected starting lineup right now for the Knicks. Didn't change. So Brunson, DiVincenzo, Hart, Randall, Hartenstein. I want to see the projected minutes there. I don't know if this is updated just yet.
I'm hoping the model updates before we get off here because it still has Quentin Grimes in there, and I'm really curious to see the minutes projection for Miles McBride because that might be the new pivot.
Yeah,
in price.
Yeah, and that'd be fine. The issue with him is that he's only guard eligible. Where Grimes really allowed people to do a lot of funky stuff, being shooting guard, forward eligible on both sides.
You're right. Yeah.
Again, that could lead to fading Luka as a smart move.
Yeah, and I think I might play Evan Fournier tonight.
I'm sorry when it doesn't work out. I really am. Oh gosh, I don't know. Does that make sense though? Like, am I just being stupid with that? Like, we could see, I don't know. We see random stuff with that with the Knicks, like where someone will get random minutes like that. In this situation, I feel like in the past 3 years.
Yeah, so we had Fournier projected for 11 minutes, and this is a guess. This is completely a guess. From whatever projection site you see, they're completely guessing on Fournier and McBride's minutes tonight. But it's going to be a little reassuring, I guess, if we see those Quentin Grimes minutes get split up between those two. I wouldn't be surprised if Dante DiVincenzo's minutes projection went up by a couple minutes, maybe Josh Hart. But
yeah, again, I do think that's what's going to happen. But yeah, these two are just a guessing game. I will say Fournier played 16 minutes against Washington. Had 6 fantasy points. So that's the only time we've seen him. And then McBride has been playing sparingly. The most we've seen him get recently was 10 minutes, and the best production he had there was 12 fantasy points, but that is it.
At least Tibbs has shown a willingness to play McBride in the last week, though. Fournier hasn't played in a month and a half, so I'm probably going to be more comfortable with McBride. But honestly, it kind of just makes me like Brunson more because Tibbs could just run Brunson out for 40 minutes.
We've seen that too, right? He literally could get 40 minutes in this game. It wouldn't be shocking. What about Ryan Encarnacion? God, I'm so close there. Have we seen him play at all? I don't think so. 1 minute against Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think he's got a couple minutes here and there, but it's going to be. I feel like it's clear that McBride is in front of him, and so with Brunson still here, I don't think we have to consider Arcidiacono at all.
All right, there we go. Yeah, I agree there. Okay. So let's go ahead and try to close out this build that we were doing. Got about 6.1 left over. Obviously not playing any more Knicks right now. Could get to. Do we just want to put in Fournier or McBride in this and then see what we've got?
Let's put in McBride. 3K leaves us 9K for the flex. 9,300. Anthony Edwards, one of your favorite GPP plays.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. And then let's hope that Towns gets ruled out. I'm curious. Any more news on him? No. Yeah, I honestly, I don't mind that. We can go with that. It's an early enough game too where you can pivot. Not the late night game.
So did I see Jericho Sims is playing today?
I thought he was already ruled out. Did that just change?
I'm seeing from Underdog 40 minutes ago that he's active Saturday, so it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get minutes. And I don't think we're going to be interested in him for DFS, but it maybe cuts into Hartenstein a couple of minutes.
Yeah, that makes him less appealing as a play, I would say, for sure.
Hartenstein,
yeah,
probably, yeah. But Sims has not been good, but Tibbs wants to play him anyway, so.
Yeah. What? 3.8 for Sims? I'm actually okay getting there a little bit. If he gets 15 minutes on a 4-game slate, that could be enough.
I'd like to see the model. We had it predicted for less than 10 minutes before the update.
Got about 3 minutes here until we'll leave. If you guys have any questions, get those in. We're going to keep refreshing this. And then the Discord will be able to help you guys out once the live stream's ended. I'll just do a little Discord call out real quick. So Yeah, so we always do the Discord chat 30 minutes before lineup lock. I believe that's, yeah, so lineup lock's at the normal time tonight. So be in there, guys, right after this video. It's more one-on-one, more reaction-based to the news that comes out. So be on the lookout for that. Link for that is going to be in the description below.
Yeah, I'll be in the Discord today, and I'm mostly going to be repeating the same stuff, but like Eric just mentioned, we will have more information over the next half hour or so.
We got a couple questions in here. How many Knicks tonight? It seems like at least 4 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I think I'm going to allow 5, but 4 is probably good.
Yeah. And then we got Sarge or Jalen Smith.
Pretty sure the model has Jalen Smith, so I'm going to go Jalen Smith.
Yeah. I would just say like Sarge, Golden State, Bigs, they're more GPP plays. They're more chasing one of them to have upside, whereas Jalen Smith is the same thing, but it feels safer, more trusted today, even with Jackson active.
Yeah, and then Drummond or Turner. So Drummond is going to be higher on value and on the OF index, even at the higher price. I'll say so. It's Drummond unless you can do something with that 1,200 to upgrade another position.
Yeah, Turner just, man, not getting 30 minutes per game just is so tough. So tough.
Yeah.
So we should touch on this as well. So Knicks on FanDuel. Yeah, we should probably touch on that a little bit. So sorting it by FanDuel value, Josh Hart is the best play. Then DiVincenzo, again, those two players are going to be so difficult not to get to. Randall then, and then Brunson. Honestly, they're not too priced. Like, it's the exact same on DraftKings as it is for FanDuel. Nothing really changes there in terms of priority plays.
Yeah, I imagine if I was playing on FanDuel today, I would have all the DiVincenzo and Hart, and then mixing up everyone else. And the model did refresh. Grimes is out of there now. We have Miles McBride projected for 19 minutes, which who knows if he's actually going to play 19. Yeah. And his ownership is going to come in above 12% because I'm sure the whole industry is projecting him for minutes now. Yeah. But I would rather get to McBride than Quentin Grimes, I think.
Yeah. You mean Fournier?
No, I just mean like I'm more excited to play McBride than I would have been to play Grimes. And I would rather get to McBride than Fournier, though, yeah.
I agree with that, actually. It's like, given the fact that we didn't know for sure if it was going to be Grimes or not, or just because we've seen it with Grimes, I guess, wasn't excited to get there. Whereas McBride, you take one less player off the court, it feels better.
It's just McBride has a ball in his hands and Grimes doesn't. So,
yeah. Okay. So
I just want to point out the minutes projections for Randall and Brunson are both above 40, and so they could definitely both play 40. I wouldn't mind playing them in the same lineup as much now.
Yeah, I personally think I'm getting there. I think I'm literally just going to play Randall, Brunson, DiVincenzo, and Hart in all my builds. Maybe I try to get to LeBron a little bit. But yeah, that's probably what I'm going to. Maybe one lineup with Luka, but it's probably it.
The one thing I'll say is it's going to be a common build, so it's basically a 5x5 with the rest of the lineup. So you have to do something different, or a 4x4, or whatever it is. You gotta do something kind of uncomfortable if you're going to play those 4 in a lineup in Litchfield.
I will say I think it's like 4 smaller GPPs I've taken down this year, and I think 3 of those were on 4-game slates like this, and I just ate the chalk, and then had one somewhat not chalky play go off, and so. Every slate's different. We get that. But I would say number one is always, especially when it's a little bit different for your strategy. But when I'm making single entry lineups and whatnot, make the best build possible. If you close it out with someone that's less chalky, that's fine. That's kind of the approach I go with. If I'm 50-50 on someone and someone's a little bit lower owned, I'll jump on that player typically.
Yep, that's all it takes. And if anyone's watching this early game, Scotty Barnes has 1 rebound and 1 assist through almost the end of the first quarter, so that's fun.
What's his points at? I know I had some props on his points.
Oh, he's at 0.
Oh gosh. All right, that's fun.
Yep.
Well, just life without OG is just rough for Scotty Barnes apparently.
Yeah, Pistons want to win, man.
That's right. I had Jakob Poeltl for over 7 rebounds. He's at 5, so that's awesome.
Easy game.
All right. So, any final thoughts there?
No, I'll be in the Discord in about 5 minutes. So if you have anything more, instructions in the description below, and I'll see you guys over there. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, everyone.